Hello, how are you? Welcome back to 9 Years in China with War, old teacher Kenny. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you're getting in a few videos. Hope get my music set here. I gotta have my Chinese mood music. Anyhow, I hope you're doing okay. Now today we got kind of a serious issue we're going to talk about, and I really don't like talking about it, but the last few days it's been inevitable that I need to make some kind of remarks. The whole time I was in China, I always knew they kept things from us foreigners, because we're told not to talk about certain topics like, Taiwan and Tibet and religion and politics and all that kind of stuff. We're pretty much instructed about that, and they only think we need to know what we need to know to teach. My first year in Fuyang, I knew that there had been a couple murders not real far from our campus. Some people, young girls, walking late at night in a pretty unpopulated area, really not a good area. But I found out that it had happened, and I found out that some of the girl students were told not to go walking at night alone. Make sure if they go anywhere, they travel in groups. And so, I knew they kept things from us because China always wants us, the visitors, the people, everything is beautiful and tranquil in China. That is the image that they always want to give off. They don't want us seeing things and talking about things that we don't need to. And I took a hell of a lot of pictures of things that they probably did not want me to know about and see. And some of them I show. But anyhow, the past few days, what had happened, I had been reading the news about flooding in China, and I had been reading about now a food shortage in China. And what I did, I was there for 9 years. I had students all over the country. My arm is fairly long if I'm fishing for information. And so I sent out some messages in different places because I heard this was happening. I heard that China was not telling the truth, not telling their citizens about pretty major things that's going on inside the country. If there's a big fire in America, all of America is going to know about the fire because it's on the news. If there's a big flood, a big storm, a mass murder, we hear about it all. Our news, I'm sure there's always some censorship and everything, but basically we know what's happening when it's happening live. That's the nature of what happens in our country. But what I found out about what's going on in China is that China really doesn't want, if you live in Beijing, they don't want you to know what's happening in South China if it's something bad. If it's tranquil and pure and beautiful, yeah, it's okay. But in like Xinjiang over in western China, there's always something going on there, and the people in China, the rest of China don't even know what's going on. And what I found out about the flooding, I'll give you an example here about the flooding. Now this is me using WeChat that's about to get banned. I'm talking to my students on WeChat. And so, anyhow, some of the people that I messaged said there is no flooding. Yet in the news, the whole Yangtze River basin and south of where I had been staying and going ways down into southern China, they were having flooding everywhere. Lots of rain. The rivers are running full blast. But yet there are people north of where I was staying said that there is no flooding in China. But if I message the people that are actually in those provinces, affected provinces, they say, yeah, but the water hasn't gotten to us, or we're okay, yeah, but there's flooding. So already there's a difference in north and south. And I had read that in Chinese newscasts, for example, when all this flooding was happening and it was at its absolute worst, it didn't even make the top 10 in the news. Imagine, you got thousands of people with no homes, you got crops being destroyed, you got all this terrible stuff that's happening, and the rest of China is not even aware of what's going on. It's because the government only wants you to know what they think you need to know. And then this food shortage thing came up, partially because in South China and Central China, there's a lot of food grown there, in the central area. It's not in where I kind of was, the wheat and barley and those kind of things. That's where a lot of that's grown. Some of the rice. But from what I understood, they had a decent year growing that stuff, even though China was buying lots of outside wheat and things like that. So to kind of let you know, if China's buying an excess of something, that means they don't have it available. And the prices of food in China are going up, because of this. But anyhow, the same thing was happening. I would ask about the food shortage, because like I said, I got students all over in different places. I'd ask about a food shortage, and they say, "Oh, no, we're fine. There is no food shortage. Everything is okay." Yet I hear that Xi Jinping himself is trying to make it where people don't eat in any excess. They don't show themselves eating in any excess. So like the entertainment programs of people eating, little skinny girls eating twice their weight or whatever, that was popular entertainment, has been stricken. They can't do that anymore. Here that restaurants are serving smaller portions in order to conserve food. But I ask my students, and friends, people I know for a long time, they say this news is nonsense. Don't believe it. Everything is okay. Yet, I'm reading this news from Forbes and CNBC and Reuters. I'm getting this news from many well-known places. And so a few of the students, I sent about 3 or 4 links to half a dozen different people, and so they could read for themselves. Now, one thing, China's internet is very, very censored, and things like you cannot, if you type in google.com, you're going to get Google HK. And now with what's going on in China or going on in Hong Kong, I have no idea how they're getting any outside information. If you type in like yahoo.com or msn.com, unless there's a way to translate, it's all in English, so most of the people are never going to look for the truth on an English website. So those places are still available to look at. So China gets most of its news like from Baidu and some of the big Chinese search engines, and that's very, very censored information. So anyhow, the students are messaging me back, and they're saying, "Oh, this is nonsense. Don't believe it." So I send them the links, and they still think it's not real. They only know what they're being told, yet the rest of the outside world is aware of these problems, and China does not want to tell you about them. If you live in China, if there is a food shortage, or if there's something bad, they're probably not going to tell a whole lot. And so the people go largely misinformed, and they think it's us, the foreigners, us, the foreign news services, are the one that's lying. And but we're not, unless the whole world is turned into a matrix and everything we read and see and do is all up here and we're dreaming or whatever, you know. But I don't want to argue with my kids. It's just me fishing for a little information, and I hope they don't get into trouble. They could get into trouble if certain algorithms picked up on our conversation, and that would kill me if my students got into any kind of trouble over something like this. So I'm not fishing for any more information, but I found out what I needed to know. I found out that China just refuses for the masses to know that there's anything going on. The whole thing is saving face, saving appearance. We're all brothers, you know, it's peaceful and tranquil and everything is okay. Yet they should tell about reality. Anyhow, that's my thoughts, and this stuff is actually going on in China, and there's nothing we can do. There's nothing that the people in China can do. They have to accept how they live for now. So anyhow, have a good day, and hope you keep staying tuned for a little bit, some more stories and more news or anything like that, okay? So anyhow, have a good day, and we'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.